What would you do if every time you discovered a new meta, build or pick, Riot nerfed it 2 patches later? That's exactly what's been happening to Baus, over and over again. And even while creating these broken strategies, he's been banned multiple times. In the last 3 years alone, Baus has caused multiple patch changes, and guess what? It's still happening. At this point, is Riot actually balancing the game, or are they just trying to patch Baus? While most players play to survive, Baus plays to pressure. He doesn't care about KDA, he cares about tempo. In 2019, Baus started gaining attention for his off-meta playstyle, but it wasn't until he turned Sion into a proxy machine that he truly exploded. Good deaths, proxy farming, building full damage on tank champions all looked like trolling, but somehow it worked. Even with disgusting KDA, Baus consistently manages to out-farm, out-macro and outplay his opponents. Today he's one of the biggest league streamers in Europe, and what makes him so unique, he's not trying to be funny, he's not yelling at chat, he just plays and people love it.
We did it! Nice! What the fuck?
If you've been playing League in the past few years, there's a good chance that some things that you've seen on the patch notes were actually caused by the Baus. Let's go down the list. Sion passive nerfs. Sion got a few different nerfs for his passive. Prowler's Claw was already one of the strongest items for assassins, offering mobility and bonus damage in one click, but Baus found completely different use for it. He would cast his E ability on a minion and mid-animation Prowler onto it, allowing him to dash across the lane and catch his opponents when they are not expecting it. That item alone let him dodge skill shots, gap close and kill opponents while in his passive. It's hard to say if Riot changed the item because of him, but they did patch the exact interaction by removing its use on minions, and later reworked the item entirely.
Nice! the claw combo.
Glacial Augment Rework. Glacial was widely considered a bad rune, unless you were Sion. For Baus, it was perfect. Out-attacking in passive slowed opponents, letting him get as much out-attacks as he wants with his AD Lethality build before his passive runs out. After seeing it barely used anywhere else, Riot gave it a full rework in patch 11.23, removing the out-attack slow entirely and tying the effect to immobilizing CC instead. On most champs, nobody noticed, but for Baus, it killed a rune that worked only for him.
I mean, even though I inted, I still do stuff in my passive and stuff.
Back in the day, Baus would intentionally die under enemy turrets just to deal as much damage as possible, since Sion used to do the same damage to structures in his passive as when he was alive. That changed in patch 12.9 when Riot nerfed his passive turret damage to 40% along with all on-hit effects like Demolish and Titanic Hydra.
아, 금기어 뻔했다. 진짜 잡은 거 아니야. 깡, 깡, 깡. 더 강해져. 진짜 씨.
Next on the list is bounty system nerf. Baus used to die 10 times, still be 2000 gold above you, and after you kill him, you get 100 gold because bounties were tied to kill streaks, and not actual impact. But in patch 14.21, Riot reworked the system. Now bounties are based entirely on gold earned. That means even if you are 000, you can have a bounty just from farming, and a support like Lulu can be worth extra gold just for shielding. It's a direct hit for Baus's playstyle, where feeding for tempo is no longer free.
And you know, you can be the judge, but I'm just gonna go ahead, like, we're gonna take a look at the stats here real quick. We're just gonna take a look at the stats, and we'll really see what happened this game, right? Most damage. We take a look at the Darius gold income. He has 16,886. Take a look at the Sion income, 892. That is a full 6 gold more than him.
Minion Dematerializer. Baus abused this inspiration rune to instantly clear waves, stay ahead in gold and apply constant pressure while playing tank Sion, because of the lack of damage from tank items. Rune did exactly what he needed. It gave him bonus damage on minions and the ability to push waves faster in the early game. Riot removed the rune entirely in patch 14.10, likely because Baus turned the utility rune into a core farming tool. Turret plating nerfs. In patch 13.20, Riot reduced turret plate gold from 175 to 100 225. Then in 14.18, they buffed turret resistances after each fallen plate from 40 to 50 armor and magic resist, making towers even harder to break down the longer you stay.
2 items, 13 minutes. Now that is income right there. We're talking mad cash. I invested in the right stuff at the right time.
But why is Riot actually doing this? At first, it seems personal. One guy invents off-meta builds, dominates ranked, and Riot decides to delete them. But the truth is more complicated. Riot doesn't hate Baus. What they do hate is when one player wraps the entire meta around himself. Baus doesn't play like everyone else. He doesn't care about his KDA. He doesn't care about flashy plays. He cares about pressure, tempo, and drawing as much attention to himself as possible. And that's why his playstyle works. While the enemy team is chasing a 0-6 Sion around the jungle, his teammates are taking dragons, towers, and free gold. But here's the issue. When everyone starts playing like this, especially in low elo, it becomes a problem. Players die 15 times thinking they are him. They are trying a strategy they've seen work, but have no idea how or why it actually works. So instead of nerfing Baus himself, they nerf the tools he uses, because the moment these mechanics become exploitable, the game stops functioning as intended. So is it fair? Depends on who you ask. Some people say he's a genius innovator who deserves respect, others say that he has a dangerous influence on League.
Chad, I am of the opinion, I'm not being target nerf, Chad. Like, that's ridiculous. That is a ridiculous thing to say. But what I am a believer of, this goes back to Korea trip, Sion, inting Sion. What I am a believer of, Riot is not target nerfing me, obviously. Like, why would they care what one person does? But what happens is, very often, especially with the Sion from Korea, is I will play something that's really OP, and then it will be popular, and as soon as it gets popular, then Riot has to nerf it. Right? How about you guys stop using the fucking shit? You're the one getting this shit nerfed, you know that, right? You're the one getting it nerfed. Stop Bro, stop using my shit. You're stealing my whole flow over here.
Anyways, let's get back to the list. Death timers. One of the ways Baus uses his passive is to bypass grey screens. By dying intentionally, his passive would let him keep playing while his respawn timer silently ticked down. But in patch 14.16, Riot increased death timers significantly, making this tempo abuse much harder. Now dying early doesn't mean a free wave clear and instant reset, but it's still more likely you'll see Baus actually recall before level 7 than someone who watches this video hit the subscribe button. Next on the list is book build. If you don't remember, on top lane Gragas Baus used to stack 3 to 4 fiendish codexes for insane AP and ability haste in the early game. He would later upgrade them into items like Cosmic Drive, Zhonya's, Banshees or Lich Bane. But after Riot reworked the build paths, you could no longer convert these codexes efficiently, killing one of the weirdest and most effective scaling strats in solo queue. And the most recent nerfs that Baus has got were Symbiotic souls. These boots became one of the most popular items in the game, and for a good reason. The empowered recall let players reset faster, removing the usual trade-offs that come with staying in lane. But no one abused it like Baus. He realized just how broken the tempo advantage was. Proxy a wave, reset instantly, and be back in the lane before your opponent even notices you were gone. In patch 25.9, Riot removed empowered recall from the base item. Now you only get it after evolving the boots, killing the early game tempo abuse that Baus built entire strategies around. While working on this video, I found out Baus is getting another nerf. Apparently right now he's the only top laner who is playing Crit Y, and it's actually been working. Tons of damage, fast wave clear, and strong all-ins. So what is happening is YZ was bugged for years, dealing 2 times critical damage instead of the usual 1.75, something that's been in the game since patch 10.23 by the way. Nobody cared about it for years, but the moment Baus starts abusing it, boom, bug fix.
Wow! Oh wow! She's just gone. She's just gone.
Let's now look at some facts. Baus made proxy farming mainstream again. Before Baus, most players thought proxying was a troll behavior or something that only singed players would do. Now it's a legitimate strategy even in pro play. Teams occasionally mirror his early game ideas. He changed what inting actually means. Baus flipped the entire idea of dying into a win condition. And suddenly, stats like 0, 7 and 10 weren't bad. He forced Riot to rethink how gold and XP work. Some of the most recent bounty changes, dev timer tweaks, and even turret gold distribution all trace back to problems his playstyle exposed. Even the items he abused get patched almost instantly. It's like Riot is constantly one patch behind Baus's brain. He doesn't just play the game, he redefines it. Now, if you enjoyed this breakdown, I've got another video that talks about some of the most loved and some of the most hated League of Legends players ever. And the comments are already on fire, so if you're ready to get mad, click here.